our gaming expert over here, Brian. Today we will be talking about futurist topics and current events that are happening currently in our day-to-day world. What story do you want to start off with today? Because I have a lot of stories, but we just mentioned Neuralink. For anyone who didn't catch, Neuralink is a technology that Elon Musk and his team have put together, and essentially it's supposed to help people with depression and things like that. It's supposed to help the chemical imbalances in your brain and send signals. We were just talking about the streaming of music to the brain, which I find a little strange. I feel like the pleasure of music is listening to it. I don't necessarily want it streamed to my brain, so just me, like, to like independently listen to the music, it's like you yourself are supposed to enjoy it, but like I don't necessarily like the idea of it just directly streaming to my brain. I kind of like headphones, but then you could also have the argument of that may reduce the cost of ear damage. Some people like to blast music on headphones and streaming it directly to your brain. Exactly. Some people love to blast music. They like to hear it louder. So I mean, that's like there's a lot of like arguments as to why this may or may not be okay. My question, I guess it could be ethical. I mean, if we're implanting chips in our brain, I guess it's deemed ethical, whatever studies they've done on it. I guess we're okay with it. It's ultimately up to the person who's getting it implanted. But I mean, if it's helping people, who suffer from depression and have these chemical imbalances in their brain, and maybe it can help solve diseases. Alzheimer's is something that's huge. Chips in our brain. So Alzheimer's is caused by like lack of oxygen to the brain. And I mean, I guess this could help somewhat, but I'm looking to see where exactly this would take us, because Alzheimer's is a very hard disease to avoid when you get old age. But you were saying, Patrick.
Yeah, Annalise, I really think we're jumping to conclusions here when it comes down to it, because the data is yet to be released. I think for the most part, this is just speculation at this current time.
Everything's
we'll see what
speculation.
happens. Yeah, so how about this? Let's cover the Twitter hacks, since this is news from Twitter, of course, and how these, I believe, insiders in Twitter just so happened to get away with over $100,000.
So did they ever find the person who did it?
Well, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that they already mixed the coins with Monero.
Everything's speculation.
So it's kind of out of the question of finding out who did it now at this point. But there is an ongoing investigation. But tracing it is going to be incredibly difficult. So, in case you guys are unaware, Twitter was hacked, and they bypassed two-factor authentication on very popular celebrities and pundits on Twitter. Like pretty much everybody you possibly know, the who's who are really famous and have a lot of influence, including rappers, singers, scientists, politicians, etc.
There was 130 counts that got into, and I was told
pundits on Twitter, like pretty much.
Sorry, I was told that somebody got access to one of Twitter's admin accounts. So like the people who go in the back end, they got access to that account, and they were able to then gain access to all the other accounts through that. So there were 130 counts that got into, and I was told access to an administrator's account. Which then leads to the question, because a lot of people are like remote these days, and Twitter's letting their employees like stay at home. But then it kind of goes into the question: should employees have access to everyone's back end, especially if they're like huge celebrities, without having like 2FA? Like I know for insurance companies, they have like tokens that they have to press, and it generates a number, and then you have to put in the number to get access to this information. Whoever hacked Twitter didn't have to do that; they just had to log into the back end, and that was it. Should employees have access to?
Well, whatever happened just so happened to cause a lot of chaos and ruckus, and people lost a lot of money thinking that they were going to get money back in return. So it's
last I saw
quite sad.
that the number was $120,000, or was how much people had put in Bitcoin to this scam that got a lot of people's attention. And then, like he said, the hackers then turned that money from Bitcoin into Monero, which if you're not aware of Monero is a privacy coin. So it's going to be very hard for the FBI and for the government to figure out where that money went as it got mixed up in exchange. So who knows? We'll keep an eye on that and keep you guys, updated. Welcome. A lot of new faces here. This is the Blockchain Universe Crypto Quad. We do events in here every single day. Today's event is the Futures Podcast. We talk about everything that's happening currently and coming to the future. We are all here in the blockchain space, really dedicated to that technology. Some of us are gamers, some of us are doing different things in the space, events, so on and so forth. So guys, definitely come back and enjoy some of our events. We host under either Blockchain Universe or Bits and Tokens. Let's go forward with some of the events that happened today. I'll go ahead and jump right into another segment that we talk about, which is streaming, game streaming. Specifically, I'm really interested in the cloud gaming world. For anybody here that's heard of Google Stadia, that's probably one of the biggest platforms when it comes to streaming right now. There's been a lot of updates that's been coming out with Google Stadia. I have it. I'm really enjoying it. Bunch of new updates that came out today. Some new features that have been in the works are now coming. We're finally going to get access to being able to play Stadia on our phones without Wi-Fi. I'm really excited for that, so I could be able to play on the go. I think that's going to be really, really cool. What do you guys think? Should we be able to have access to our games on the go from our cell phone without Wi-Fi? Finally going to get access to.
I mean, that's the way that gaming and tech is moving. Everything is moving towards streaming. Every service that even music shows is streaming. Everything is streaming these days. So it's only natural for gaming to also go to streaming. Even games that you don't buy the disc and you have to download and it's mostly online. Like I remember when I downloaded Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it was like an 85 gigabyte game. Meanwhile, most of the game was via cloud, on the server. So that's just the way we're moving with gaming. Brian, I think you would have a little more input than this for me because you're a huge gamer. And you have to download, and it's mostly
yeah, I mean, I
just
wanted to ask on his opinion or anyone in this group's opinion on whether or not considering using, playing it without Wi-Fi if the data service is going to be powerful enough. I know it was mentioned having the best Wi-Fi 5G. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to ask on his opinion or anyone in this group's opinion on whether or not
currently
playing it without
I've been able to go
the data
on my phone,
powerful enough.
switch it to desktop mode in the browser, and then
mentioned
go to Stadia,
having the best
and I
Wi-Fi
have been
5G
successful
you
with
can get
playing
to be able to run
games
it
on
at moderate
4G. So
graphic
5G is going to
settings
be
and
even
resolution
better,
and
less
frame
latency,
rate. So I
better
was
connection, but also
wondering
on
what
top
type
of
of
that,
service you guys deal with that would be.
More and more companies are not stopping people with limits. I think that's been one of the biggest concern is data caps, having people maxing out their data by playing. I think every hour of Google Stadia is about 20 gigabytes. So, and at least like you're saying, 60 gigabytes for Call of Duty, or if you play the new Red Dead Redemption, that's a 99 gigabyte game. You're talking about within 4 to 6 hours, that entire game download size would have been completed. But since you're not downloading the game to your phone, you're streaming the game. You don't have to worry about that 60 or 99 gigabyte download time, but you do have to worry about the data that's being sent to your phone, kind of like a YouTube feed that would be eating up your data, and every hour is about 20 gigabytes. So I could see where that's really going to eat up data plans. My data plan's only 12 gigs, so after about 12 gigs, I'm going to start getting throttled, and I could see where Street Stadia within 30 minutes, I'm going to eat up my entire month's worth of data. So I could see where this is going to be a negative for for people that would try to use this, but I could also see where this may be a positive for people that want phone companies to push for data cap increases. How many people would love to have truly unlimited data with their cell phone data plan and not get throttled at a certain speed? Let me see some hands or some
I'm sure everyone. Nobody wants to be
hearts
throttled or capped.
emojis. So I think that's hopefully where we're going as more and more people get into Stadia and start streaming games from their cell phones. I think more and more companies, especially like T-Mobile, are going to start to work with Google and with other streaming cloud gaming platforms to be able to enable data,
I'm sure everyone. Nobody wants to
unlimited
be
data
throttled or
caps
capped.
just for streaming games. I think that's hopefully where
Well,
we're
hey,
going as
guys,
more and more
I'd
people
like
get
to
into
segue our discussion into Torchlight 2 being available for free for the next 2 days on the Epic Games Store. It is an awesome ARPG.
What game is this?
It's called Torchlight 2. It's pretty much been on the market for, I believe, 5 years, going on 6 years now. And it was originally made by Runic Games, and the franchise has been sold to Perfect World, with Torchlight 3 currently in early access. But Torchlight 2 is for free right now on the Epic Game Store for the next 2 days. So you guys should probably grab that and just enjoy it with some
That's cool.
friends. It's a really chill game. You can play casually. You know, it's a fun little action RPG, really wonky, and it's got an awesome storyline. It's kind of steampunk based. So Brian, would you like to dive into the blockchain gamers digest for this week?
Yes, I
Brian, would you like
would.
to
Let me
dive into the
pop back
blockchain
open to
gamers
the links.
digest for this week?
The first one yes, I would. Let me a game that Ubisoft has begun to back, Toron, which is made by the first one being a game that Ubisoft has begun to back, Toron, which is made by the Zaya blockchain, is having their third treasure hunt event with over $10,000 in prizes. You go in and you test out new movements and new, different features that they added to the game. And
What game is this, Brian?
Tauron, Tauron.io is both the name of it, and then .io is the website. Like I said, you can go on, enter your email, you get the starter pack, and then I assume I just got the email, but you would download the game. It's meant for low end, they new so really features that they added to the game, and with Tauron, Tauron.io is both the name of it, and .io is the website. Like I said, you can go on. The treasure hunt is that the amount of resources you need for crafting things, and the amount of items you need for blueprints and whatnot. The quests and activities in the game are a lot lower than they would be in the full version, so it helps you complete them faster and then gain the non-fungible tokens and other prizes and assets and whatnot that are going to be featured in the game, of which what they are going to be, I am not certain, but like I said, about $10,000 worth of prizes, so a good bunch, and I can't imagine more than
You said how much dollars worth of prizes?
10,000. So,
Ooh, that
everybody
sounds
that
lovely.
plays is
Also-
probably going to be able to get 20 at least dollars worth of some sort of crypto assets.
Also, Brian, do us a favor, buddy. Can you amplify your voice?
Is it not on? It says it should be amplified. I don't know if I'd be able to make it any louder than it currently is.
All good.
No worries. So that's really cool news. I think that's actually awesome that Ubisoft is diving into the space. And this might actually just be some sort of trial incubation sort of project, just to explore the possibilities of using this technology with one of their major franchises, such as Assassin's Creed, for instance. We shall see.
Yes.
How many Assassin's Creed fans do we have in the audience? Any Assassin's Creed fans out there? Awesome. All right. Any other blockchain gaming news that we have, Brian?
Yeah, there's another one. Game Credits is partnering up with OpenSea, so you'll be able to purchase assets from that website with game credits. And I just started checking out the website, apparently it's got ways that you can go and earn tokens through, it looks like, playing some games, Splinterlands, Chainbreakers, etc. Different games that are free to play on the blockchains where you can, I assume, do activities and earn tokens. I just saw the article, so I haven't been able to dive too much into the platform, but it definitely seems interesting, and another form of, way to be able to get some different assets on, the main website still, as far as being able to trade your, blockchain items from any different game, which is cool that it's giving more variety to it.
That sure is cool, and I think it's cool that they're partnering with OpenSea. I know recently they had partnered with Digitable, and I think actually did a merger with that group. So really fascinating stuff that Game Credits is doing. I know that they've been around since 2014, one of the first blockchain gaming groups to really create a game-focused blockchain cryptocurrency. So if you guys haven't heard about Game Credits, definitely check them out. I know that they're currently working on creating a list of champions that they're calling them, people that are going to be kind of doing like a esports type of league for blockchain gaming. I know they're really focused on some blockchain card-based games at the moment, which I think are pretty cool. Do we have any card gamers in the audience? Anybody play any card games? Okay,
Nice.
okay, got a hand up over there. Got some cards.
What games
up.
do you like? Sage is cool.
Awesome.
So speaking of which, OpenSea, in case you guys are unfamiliar, you can go to OpenSea.io. It's pretty much an open source NFT-based marketplace, which NFT stands for non-fungible token that exists on a blockchain. And it's just representing specific bytes of information that can be transferred from a request for comments. That's all it really is. And these comments can be virtual real estate inside of VR, in such applications such as Somnium Space, or they could be a collectible digital card, kind of like from Splinterlands. So yeah, I recommend you guys check out that site. It's really neat. Yeah, it actually showcases the possibilities of blockchain technology and the gaming sector when they collide.
If you guys are into art too, that's a good place to go. A lot of artists put their stuff on there too. If you guys are into digital art.
Yep. So in other news, 1/3 of game developers have had their games delayed due to the coronavirus, sadly. And this does include Cyberpunk 2077 once again. So they're currently
it's delayed until like November, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm so sad about that. I'm so sad.
Before the end of the year, like they can't push it any further back than November. Like December would be way too late for this year. I really hope that game comes out this year. And a lot of us are really excited for Cyberpunk 2077. Anybody else in the audience looking to get Cyberpunk 2077?
Oh,
all right.
That's what's up. So
yeah, it's a cool game. I'm excited for it to come out. But yeah, a lot of things are getting delayed.
Yeah, totally. Games that most people weren't even expecting, such as Iron Man VR, got pushed back. Death Stranding got pushed back. And
yeah,
Mafia
I was playing the
got
beta
pushed
the
back
other day.
too.
Have you played the beta, Patrick, for Iron Man VR?
I have not. Nope.
Oh, well, the full game is out now. The beta was right before the game came out, but the full game came out July 3rd. I've been playing it for the last couple weeks.
Oh, I thought it I got pushed back more. Okay, I guess the full game is out. Just kidding, guys.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah,
according
apparently.
to this article, it's saying that it was pushed back. It's been delayed. But I'm glad it's on the market right now. So.
First, it was supposed to come out in February. Then they pushed it back to May. Then they pushed it back to July.
I
so
see.
It is out now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's cool. It's a cool game. So I guess I have played the full game. The full game's actually really cool. It's neat. You just have to make sure that your tracker is on you properly, because if not, like, you know, the camera will bug out. It's PlayStation. It's an okay game though. It's fun.
You know, I think that these developers should start embracing the idea of early access for their fan base, just allowing the fans to beta test the game instead of just keep pushing it back and roll out patches. I'm sure some people would disagree with me. It's a hot take, but I'm currently playing a game that's in early access right now that I got on Steam today called Mass. I believe it is Mass Builder. Yeah, so it's like a mech style game, and it's not fully complete yet, but it's so good. It's called Mass Builder. If you like games kind of like Gundam, or you know, I'd say anything that has to do with robotics, like giant fighting robots and saving humanity from aliens, mass in an invasion builder, I recommend you check it out. It's pretty cool. But anyway, moving on.
I kind of want to talk about the what's going on, just like in current events. I don't know where you guys are located, but I'm in the U.S. I think all of us here up on stage are in the U.S. Obviously, we know that Corona is amongst us, and I don't want to get into any depressing topics, but I thought it was interesting that right now, despite we went through the 2008 crash / recession, right now we're looking at a higher not only unemployment rate but like foreclosure rate than we did back in 2008. Over a period of years, I think 10 million people lost their homes back in 2008. Right now we're looking about we're going on 28 million, which is a little scary. According to the Census Bureau, 11.6 million Americans weren't able to pay their rent last month, and about 22 million Americans are questioning whether they can pay it next month. And it's kind of a little sad. We're in a really rough patch right now, guys. So, I just kind of wanted to mention it. Be kind to each other right now. Everything is kind of topsy-turvy. Everything's everywhere. There's people who are losing their businesses. I know that there's states that are closing back down. Florida is kind of like the epicenter at the moment down in Miami, and Miami is on a curfew, and they have been shutting down businesses. And I do know a few people who have completely lost their business because of the second shutdown. But yeah, that's kind of just something I wanted to touch upon, because I do find it important, and a lot of people don't know that it is to this big of an extent right now that people are losing their homes. Like Patrick said earlier, what was it? You said how many millions of people had filed for unemployment?
51 million.
Jeez.
Yes.
Geez, yeah, I think numbers aren't going great, but the good thing is blockchain-related jobs are on the rise. So there's a lot of companies who go into the blockchain center that are hired remotely, which I think is awesome. A lot of these companies are located in other countries, so they allow for you to do work remotely, which is good. So if you guys are interested in the blockchain industry or working for a company that deals with blockchain, look up just blockchain jobs. Some should come up because it's a growing sector, and it's tech. Blockchain is basically a database. So.
Hey, and I'd like to add on to that. If you don't mind, there are other ways and mediums to get involved inside the sector as well, outside of just getting a traditional job working remote. You could even do a lot of freelance work. If you're familiar with coding and IDEs, you can go to Gitcoin and pretty much freelance and do bug bounties and get paid there as well, just to get your feet wet and to learn new skills at the same time. So the average blockchain job pays about $150K a year, which is actually quite lucrative. You can use that money to reinvest into the space and pretty much allow yourself to have a budget of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever cryptocurrency that you like the most. So yeah, in these times,
really
there will always be
for
jobs
this
in demand markets.
Absolutely. And I enabled the button for you guys to ask questions. I think we've gone through most of our articles of the week. If you guys have any questions, you guys have any topics you want to discuss, go ahead and hit that raise hand button so I can amplify your voice, get you on this podcast, and let's talk. What do you guys find interesting, or what are you guys looking forward to in this gaming space in the near future? Any questions? Don't look like it. Do you guys have any other articles that you guys want to touch on?
Well, I would like to touch base on AMD's new APUs, which are OME right now. So they are currently on the way, even though,
I'm sorry, wait, OME? What's OME?
Yeah. So OME is a descriptive acronym meaning original equipment manufacturer. It's an organization that makes devices for components brought from other organizations. So pretty much it's being insourced from their semiconductor supplier. It's like them working with partnership pretty much. And it's on the way right now. It's not actually being distributed directly from their warehouses just yet, but it is on the way. And that means more powerful laptop processors that can do GPU and CPU computations in the same chipset, pretty much. And right now, I'm using an AMD-based machine APU, which is the A10. I love it. I've been using it for about 3 years now, going on actually more than that, 4 years now. And pretty much obsolete, but I can't wait to get my hand on the new Zen 3 processor. So it's been delayed a little bit due to current situations, of course. But I'm not entirely sure what the future is going to hold for these sorts of 7-nanometer processors as the market is transitioning to ARM-based chipsets. And I'm not for sure if the audience is aware of this. The new next-gen consoles are ARM-based. The PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox are both going to be ARM. And these video games that are being coded right now are actually being written for ARM-based stack flows. So things are changing very fast, but I still want to support Team Red, and I use my PC for very intensive processings, not just gaming. So it's a workhorse pretty much, irregardless. I think this is great news for like people that want a good mobile laptop, setup without having to break the bank. And this is definitely going to do just that.
Yeah, I'm excited about ARM. New chipset, definitely gonna change the game and really allow better graphics in some games, better, smoother gameplay. I think it's gonna be awesome for all you gamers out there once we get these new chipsets and more people get a hand of these newer devices that are out there.
For sure. But I think that working in an x86 or 32-bit isn't necessarily a bad thing. So this new APU is going to be working with the Vega architecture, and the average one is going to have 8 GPU cores, and the boost clock is going to be 4.4 gigahertz, which is absolutely insane. I'm so gassed about that. Like, seriously, I'm obviously a Team Red fanboy. I think that they've definitely smashed Intel out of the water, and the market is evolving in that sector towards AMD. Yep.
So, with all that said, one of the last updates that we have yet to talk about is the newest update to AltSpace, where AltSpace now has new characters, as everybody in here has seen. But anybody that's watching the live stream or listening to the podcast definitely should jump into AltSpace, check out the new characters, make your own. We got a wide variety of characters here. So I'm going to release the stage blocker, and I would love you guys to come on up, bring your wonderful characters, and let's get you guys character on the live stream. Let's see all these different new avatars that are out there. Woo! Come on up, you guys. Come on up.
At first, I didn't like them, but they're kind of growing on me. They're different for sure. It's
I
more
think it's pretty cool.
customizable, more personable.
Hmm.
I can see where because they said they were trying to go more towards like the Facebook Horizons look, right? Is that what they said they wanted to do?
I mean, they didn't say that that's what they were gonna do, but I'm sure that that's what they kind of had in mind. As you can see, we no longer have feet. For anybody that could see on the live stream, all the feet have kind of gone away.
Yeah, everyone's kind of just floating. There was no point in having feet in alt space. I don't know if anybody's into VR chat, but VR chat makes more sense to have, full body, because you can do full body tracking in VR chat. It's supported there. That's like one of the only places that makes sense to actually have, incredible detail to avatars and feet and different gimmicks. I think for alt space, these new characters are fine. I don't know. They look cool. I don't mind them.
Nor do I. Honestly, I like the fact that I can make myself look like Thanos. Awesome.
The skin.
So,
I haven't really played with mine too much. I kind of just threw something on. I threw literally whatever on. I like that girl in the corner. She has like the ombre hair. I need to do that. I have green hair in real life. I need to like actually like replicate that, but I don't know. I'll get around to it.
Well, eventually in due time. So I'd like to definitely have a discussion about what is going to happen when it comes down to people investing into cryptocurrency, because right now, as we all know, capital gains tax is very, I'd say, over encumbering for the most part.
How much is capital gain here in America? How much is that tax?
Yeah, it should be anywhere between 15 to 20% as well. But South Korea is proposing a 20% capital gains tax because their capital gains tax is actually really low in comparison to the rest of the world. And I think that for the most part, a lot of these governments are teetering on the verge of bankruptcy. But that's just my 2 cents for the most part. And this space is a honeypot and might actually be milked by foreign governments and domestic. So we shall see what is to come of this. Irregardless, I believe that there's no need to take profits in this space when you can just spend it like cash. And in fact, it's far more useful than cash. The fact that I can send about $1 million to somebody in literally a minute with Ethereum for about 50 cents proves that it's definitely versatile and is pretty much as fluid as cash. So yeah.
More fluid than cash, because good luck trying to send somebody $1 million over the internet in a couple of minutes with USD.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. Now with the bank wire, it's almost impossible. Definitely almost impossible. It would take, I'd say, maybe almost a week to clear, and that's if the bank doesn't flag your transaction.
You're definitely paying anywhere between. I think most banks charge like $50 for under $1,000. So I can only imagine $1 million wire transfer. You're talking about several thousands of dollars to send somebody money via a bank. Whereas if you're using cryptocurrencies, you can send somebody, money from my wallet to your wallet within a matter of minutes. And if they need to exchange it from bank Bitcoin to, British pound or whatever money that they need, they can then do it from there. But you've already done your part by transferring those funds in a matter of minutes for 50 cents.
Pretty much. I think that's bleeding edge right there, and proves the fact that just the means of taxing these transactions might somewhat be obsolete when using an off-ramp. I mean, what's the purpose of even having the cash on hand or wanting to turn that into like digital banknotes for your bank account? But I digress.
I digress.
I mean, some people want to be able to continue to, people got bills to pay. So I get it why people would want to exchange their Bitcoin back into USD. I really am hopeful for the days where, I can pay everything in Bitcoin. So I don't have to exchange it from BTC back to USD. But you know, as you said, I digress. Things are going to change over time. It's you know, it's slowly changing in other countries. I think it's going to take even longer in the United States for more adoption in this space, as the United States dollar is king, unless there is a drastic crash this year due to Corona. Then I could see where, like you said, with foreign governments flocking towards Bitcoin, I think that a lot of Americans would then see it and flock to Bitcoin. You might see it on the news, more and more people getting it. It's way
I just don't
easier
see
now.
foreign governments actually flocking to Bitcoin. Like China was putting pressure on the US to like turn, you know, our currency into a digital currency. And I do believe that like current monetary systems will change, but I don't particularly think that they're going to flock to Bitcoin. The Federal Reserve and the US dollar, it's actually a really genius system the way it's set up. It's very hard to replicate. It's just the efficiency that's the problem, the liquidity, the actual liquidity, that's the problem. And that's where they're having like actual issues. I don't see us flocking to Bitcoin ever.
Us
Because
in the
it's
United
kind of
States, no, but other countries. I was watching an article about, or reading an article about, I think it was an African country that recently, like, their dollar went to shit, and they decided, well, instead of continuing to print more dollars, this community of people decided, you know, instead of using our currency for this country, they had a surfer, somebody from California, came through and like gave the city a bunch of Bitcoin, and the city has been distributing that amongst the people in that community, and they've been utilizing that currency for, you know, everything that they need within their community, and it's been way better. People love it way more than they did their banknotes.
right, but
Hey,
the
you
bank's
know,
not gonna. So the government's not gonna use Bitcoin though. They're gonna either make their own currency, something that benefits like them directly. You know what I
pretty much.
mean? Like it's
Yep.
not that they won't use a tech. Of course they will. It's that they're not gonna particularly use like specifically currencies that already exist unless it benefits the government directly.
I agree.
I could agree
So
with
here's
that.
the
I could
thing.
definitely see that being the case.
That for the most part, I completely agree as well. That's one of the reasons why oracles are on the rage at the moment when it comes down to the price movements in the cryptocurrency space. As we all know, Chainlink is having a tear right now, pretty much breaking past its all-time highs recently and crossing into the top 10 market caps as an Ethereum request for comments, an ERC20 token that just so happens to have its own mainnet to connect with other JavaScript-based applications. And, you know, the central bank of China, you know, the Chinese Communist Party's central bank, pretty much the People's Bank is what they like to call it, is going to be utilizing it for their trial of their central bank digital currency. So of course they're going to try to mint their own currencies, but you know, the Russian government is actually going to be legalizing Bitcoin once again. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, Venezuela is trying to outlaw cryptocurrency mining as we speak. So yeah, these things.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
know a bunch of miners that went to Venezuela because the oil and
Yeah.
electricity was so
Everything's
cheap there.
cheap.
So for that to be
Mhm.
banned, I mean, I'm sure that's taking up a toll on their electric grid, considering the fact that they're poor as is, and so much people flocking there to go do crypto mining. I can understand why.
Yep. But that doesn't mean that they're outlawing the use of cryptocurrencies entirely. They just don't want people to take advantage of the situation that's going on in Venezuela.
Right.
And
No,
it
that's exactly what
definitely
it
has
is.
been a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who prefer going to Venezuela to mine. I've spoken to like a lot of miners, and like one of their number one places is always Venezuela. So that they're making it illegal because of, you know, the electricity and all that, I'm not surprised at all. And it's a little crazy actually. It's a little
Unfortunate for those people though, because I know one guy that said that he was mining cryptocurrencies in the U.S. and his electric bill was in the thousands of dollars. He went to Venezuela and it was less than $10.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing the ROI that you get in a nation that's suffering from hyperinflation. You'd be surprised.
Well, I
anyway,
think
thank you
that is a great note. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Blockchain Block to Central's Futures podcast.
Thanks for joining us, guys. All right.